sure there's plenty of time for everyone else. I wanted to start out asking, I'm sure that a lot of people do know, but some might, usually doing voice acting, you're doing a lot of it on your own. So I'm wondering how much time during production on you actually interacted with each other, and has it been weird to have this connection for so many years with someone that you might not have worked with all that much on the actual movie?
I mean, this is a theme in Scott's life. Everybody that he works with stays in his life forever. I think for me, Scott feels like family to me. So this is something we're really lucky that we started this project when we were at the beginnings of our careers, and we got to keep doing these characters for all of our adult lives. And it's been really great to come to these fan events because it's another way for us to have these experiences together, and now with all of you.
It's true. And actually, even though a lot of times recording an animated movie can be a lonely process, there are times when you're just in there by yourself. But Linda and I got to work together a ton. We recorded a lot of the movie face to face, which is great.
At the time at the time Aladdin came out, obviously Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast happened, but this wasn't at the time when it was just assumed a new Disney movie would be this hit, and then Aladdin becomes the most popular movie of 1992. At what point did you realize this was going to be huge and life-changing?
It's funny because I remember when I found out I had an audition. I mean, I was a kid, my mom said, "You have an audition later today for some cartoon." And I was very lucky that I didn't know what a big deal it was, because I would have been freaking out and I wouldn't have done well at the audition. I wouldn't have, I'm not like Tiger Woods where when the pressure's on, I get better. I would have been like freaking out. So I was very lucky that I was ignorant that this was going to be such a huge, big deal. And then when did we start to realize, like, oh, they started having screenings, like work-in-progress screenings, at really fancy places, like at the Museum of Modern Art in New York.
I think that's when we started to realize something huge was happening.
We were like, yeah, this could be a life-changing thing.
Yes, and I think maybe Beauty and the Beast came out a year before our movie came out, so we were still in the process of making Aladdin when Beauty and the Beast hit the theaters. And in that moment I was like, oh, I think we're part of something bigger, really bigger than what I even thought going in. Because I was like you, I didn't know even that it was an animated feature. I thought maybe it was like a kid's video. They didn't tell us much, and it's kind of good that way because you sort of just get into the character and into that world, and you're not thinking too much about what it could be, and then,
I have a best friend from when I was 9 years old. We went from third grade, we went all the way through junior high and high school and college together, and he was an animation fanatic. And so I said, I'm doing this, I got this, I think I got the part, I'm not sure. They never really told me. Even when the movie came out, I was like, please be my voice. I didn't change it out to I said, it's Aladdin. He said, he knew everything. He said, are you kidding? It's not just some cartoon, that's Ron Clements and John Musker. He started telling me all the names of all the people that were involved. And so he sort of clued me in, and I was like, dude, I'm glad I didn't ask you before when I was auditioning. So it's always like that. Whenever you think it's not a big deal, it ends up being a much easier audition process, and also weirdly changes your life.
I know, it has been life-changing for all of us involved. And that was a question somebody asked me recently. Did you know at the time that it was going to change your life, and in what ways did it change your life? And I was like, I definitely didn't know, and I couldn't even begin to tell you all the ways it's changed my life. And one of the things for me is the people that I've gotten to meet, like the places that we get to go because we were in this film. I wouldn't be here today with Scott, with all of you in Salt Lake City. This is because of Aladdin. It changed my life. I'm really happy to be here. You guys have been awesome, really awesome.
Truly, it's been a great event.
Linda, you had a chance at the D23 convention a couple of years ago to meet in person another group of the Disney princesses, what is it like to be part of that sort of elite group? And did you connect on any specific level with any of the other performers?
Are you talking about the Ralph Breaks the Internet
Yes.
introduction?
Yes.
Right. So we have all of the princesses have kind of lived in their own worlds for all of these years, and then maybe in 2011, when they made 5 of us Disney legends, we got to be together and sort of celebrate something together. We had never done that before. I'm always with Aladdin, which is great. I love it. But I'm always with my cast. We do. I'm always with my cast, and the other girls are always with their own casts. And that was the first time that we started to really spend some time together. And then we started doing conventions and spending time together there. And then Ralph Breaks the Internet happened, and they brought all of us, almost all of us, to Anaheim and surprised the fans. They showed a clip from the movie, a work in progress on the princess scene, and then they brought Jodie Benson on stage, and all the fans were like, "Oh my gosh, Jodie Benson's here!" And she gave it a moment, and then she said, "And I'd like to bring Paige O'Hara." And everybody was like, "Oh, Jodie and Paige?" And Paige came out, and then Paige said, "Linda Larkin," and at that moment, everyone went crazy. They were like, "It's gonna be all of them." And it was like, the moment I was walking out, I was like, I know I'm getting a really big cheer because they've just caught on that it's gonna be everybody. So it was a very exciting moment. And before we came on stage, we were all standing backstage seeing the scene for the first time. We could see it. There was a screen like this, and you could see it from backstage. And we were all back there, like, jumping up and down. We were so excited. Everybody was like, "This is good. This is really good."
Scott, do you ever get jealous that there's all this princess love and the princes don't get quite that same attention?
Always a prince, never a princess. I think it's really cool, and I loved Ralph Breaks the Internet. I loved especially that scene. And it's really fun. I mean, Linda and I. It's true that there is something, the Disney princess thing is like a really big deal, and but I feel like I get my share of love as Aladdin. I can't complain. It's okay. And the funny thing is, I'm not like a full-time voice actor, so sometimes a year will go by and I forget that I'm Aladdin. and then there'll be an event like this, or the movie will be like a few years ago when it was released on Blu-ray for the first time. We did a lot. We went to New York and did. Linda was already in New York because she lives in New York, but we did all this publicity together, and all of a sudden it just out of nowhere becomes a very big part of my life again, which is cool. And it's especially cool now because I'm a dad and my kid thinks it's awesome. And in fact, when we were getting ready for the Blu-ray release, I was talking to the publicity people about fun things we could do to promote the movie. And I said, I don't know, but I'm just personally looking forward to my son seeing it for the first time. And they said, "Wait, what? Your kid's never seen Aladdin?" I said, "Well, he's finally getting old enough where he can watch it and understand it." And so they threw a huge screening for him and his best friends out at the Walt Disney Studios lot in the big movie theater. It was amazing. It was a life-changing moment for me and for him. It was really unforgettable.
If we want to get our first person up to the microphone, I just have one more question and then we can get started with the question. So my question is, what song that's not from Aladdin would you be most likely to sing in the shower?
The shower is the only place I will be singing. What song would I be most likely to sing? It would probably be something like Beyonce or Rihanna, or maybe MIA. My taste in music is very not Disney. But I mean, obviously I love Disney music, but the stuff I listen to is more, I don't know, what would you call it? Pop?
I would be singing, lately, the thing that's playing on a loop in my house and in my car, because my son controls he's the DJ, would be the Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack. So, yeah, What's Up, Danger? I'm in the shower singing What's Up, Danger.
of years ago it was Hamilton. You were
Yes.
listening to Hamilton.
Oh, nice. Well, you know, it was really funny because I was in New York for the Blu-ray to do all the, we were doing all the kind of the Good Morning America kind of shows and to promote the movie. And a buddy of mine who's a big New York theater fan said, there's this new, the Hamilton thing, and it was kind of new. It was like just new on my radar. He said, I got great tickets, and the genius guy is in it. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good, we'll give that a try. And so we went, and we had these amazing seats. And I like left the theater thinking like that, like, did I just see the coolest show I ever saw? And yeah, so thus began like a 2-year thing of that being the only music we listened to in my house for a while.
All right.
By the way, you know what's a really cool fact about that is that James Iglehart, who played the genie on Broadway in Aladdin, and he was amazing and he won the Tony, left Aladdin and now he's the star of Hamilton. It all comes together.
I've seen him in both roles. He is incredible. And Scott is hopefully going to see him in Hamilton.
Soon, I'm going to be in New York soon. I got to try to score some tickets.
All right.
I think we might know someone. What characters that you've played do you relate to most? Oh, well, for me, it's Jasmine. I've been playing this character for all these years, and I think part of the reason that I was cast as Jasmine is because I really did relate to her personally. So there's a lot about Jasmine that is true for me in my heart. So one of those things for me is that I'm all about love and following your heart. And I really believe that will take you in the right direction. And that's something I really connected with Jasmine. And also I connected with Jasmine's spirit and willingness to fight for what she believes in, even against all odds. So for me, it's Jasmine for sure.
That was such a beautiful answer. I was going to say Steve from Full House because I knew that. But now I feel like I have to say something more like sincere, although I do eat a lot.
He does. We went out to dinner last night.
We went out to dinner with Irene, who's the voice of Pocahontas, which was really fun.
We had a fun dinner. Nobody knew. We were like...
But, you know, it's funny that everything that Linda's saying about Jasmine, it's true about her, and it's true for me. I think like the Aladdin character I really related to because, you know, he was just full of potential, but he didn't realize it, you know, and it was a great message. I mean, the whole message of the movie is to just be yourself, and that really, I mean, I was a kid, and I don't even think at that age, I was just, I don't think the message even resonated as much as it does now with me, and you know, and believing in yourself and not trying to be anything you're not. I think that's a message that I'd like my son to, you know, to sort of take to heart. And I certainly did. Follow your, you know, follow your dreams and all that. And it's true. And by the way, I feel like everybody, you know, when they're a kid, is a diamond in the rough. And then when I was watching Hamilton, he says, I'm a diamond in the rough. And so I tweeted at Lin-Manuel Miranda. I was like, was that an Aladdin thing? And he said yes.
That's great. I was like, bet he was a fan of Aladdin because he would be like that age,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah, good question.
Okay, so my name's Tania, and so I have 2 super quick questions, and this one is for Scott. So, in Fuller House, what does it feel like to have different relationships with different girls?
Well, let me tell you
Very
something.
good question.
Well, I'm married, and so it's a little bit complicated because my poor wife, my son is a huge fan of Fuller House. It's on TV all day in my house. It's just on like background music. And my poor wife has to walk in the family room and see me smooching DJ or CJ or somebody all the time. And so it makes for some awkward situations. And sometimes they come to the tapings and my wife is 20 feet away, sitting next to Candace's parents and her husband, and everybody's watching us smooch. It's, you know what, it's really awkward. Well, you know, it's funny because it's more awkward for me because I stopped being an actor. Like after I went to college, I got into writing TV shows, and that became my career. And I married a woman who was also a TV writer. And so we're used to smooching each other exclusively. At least I hope so. And all of a sudden, they asked me to be in an episode of Fuller House, and then another one, and another one, and another one, and all of a sudden I'm in this relationship with DJ and then CJ. And so it's a crazy situation. But it's been really fun, and I think my wife, who every time she likes to say, I married a writer. but we're getting used to it now.
You're an actor first.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. I said, you knew I had a history. It's been a crazy ride, and I don't know if my son is traumatized or if he just says, oh, that's my dad's job. I know. By the way, I don't think I made things easy when I said, I know mom's mad, but you have to understand, I only kiss other women for money. It's my job. Yeah, I don't think that helped.
This question's for Scott. Which was more fun to film, Full House or Fuller House?
You know, I have to say they were both really fun. Being on Full House was amazing because I was a kid and it was sort of like my dream job as a teenager to be doing that. And then, but you know, when I was a kid, I was always thinking like about my next acting thing and what this was going to lead to. And I don't know if I was like fully present in the moment and just enjoying it for what it was. And this is a whole different thing. I'm really just, it came out of nowhere. I wasn't looking for another acting job. I haven't like made new headshots and started going on auditions or anything. It's just, I'm just really enjoying the job for what it is, and it's been a really cool surprise. And so I think this time I have the benefit of a little more wisdom, and I'm enjoying it even more.
Nice to know that you can enjoy something more when you get older than you did when you were younger for like reasons that you wouldn't even think of.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
It's true. And also, you know, it's really fun watching my kid and his friends. You know, I live in LA, so my son goes to a school where it's not like unusual to see some random movie star walk down the hall. You know, there's like a parent in the school, and I heard one of my son's friends say, "That's Misha's dad. He's famous." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." But you know, if my son thinks I'm cool because of this, then it was totally worth it.
Hey, so where did Steve's food obsession come from, and why did he become a foot doctor instead of like a chef?
You know, it's really funny because I guess as a teenage wrestler, they just thought it was funny that teenage wrestlers just eat whatever they want because they burn it off at practice or whatever. And it also, I think it stuck because it turned out to be true for me too. I wasn't a teenage wrestler, but I was a hungry teenager. Like I would always go to the restaurant with people and be like, I'll have the burrito dos manos. You know, they had this one restaurant where you had the two-handed burrito, and then order two of them. But anyway, and then it sort of stuck. My son knows that I can't take a bite of any of his like Doritos or whatever because he knows I'll eat the whole bag if I take one. And so, and then the podiatry thing, I don't know, I think that was, they told me when they were first writing the pilot episode of the show, I wasn't supposed to be on it. I was supposed to be like a one episode cameo, like reunion episode for the old cast. And at first I was going to be a realtor or something, I heard. I don't know if that's true, but that's what they told me. And then I think someone said podiatrist, and it's just a funny word, podiatrist. Like that Steve became a podiatrist. And it wasn't really true to the character because I was a little bit of a dope. The idea that Steve ended up really getting it together after Daytona Beach University and going to medical school and becoming a foot specialist, it was a stretch. But it sort of stuck, and it's been really funny. They made a lot of they've really run with it. They've really milked it like crazy. I didn't even mean that. But like, and it's funny because me and DJ's a veterinarian and I'm a podiatrist, so we sort of get on each other's case about who's the real doctor. And then to rub it in, that's why they made CJ her rival and orthopedic surgeon. You know, and I was like, you guys are both doctors, but you know, CJ, you know, works on people and you work on like hamsters and stuff. So, They really made a meal out of the whole thing, but it's been fun. It's sort of after 5 seasons, it's become like, it actually feels totally organic to the character now. And they gave me a really crazy foot fetish, where I became the foot doctor of the LA Lakers, and Lonzo Ball shows up and takes off his shoes, and I'm like having a heart attack because it's like such a beautiful foot.
So, my sister really wants to know, how did you get your foot in the Disney door?
That is a great segue from Steve the Foot Doctor, foot in the Disney door. For me, it was an audition. I went to the studio and auditioned for Princess Jasmine, and I left there and I didn't think, I thought it went well. I thought I could really do this character, and then I didn't hear anything for a while, and I was like, oh, all right, well, I guess that didn't happen. And then they called me and said, we want you to come back, and we want to hear some more. And that went on for several months for me. I don't know if your process was long like
Oh
that.
yeah, it took forever. Yeah, 6 months or something.
Yeah, it took at least 4 months, maybe longer for me. So it was just an audition that my agents sent me on. I was pursuing a career as an actress, and I wasn't really thinking about animation, and I didn't even really think of that as a job. You just think of the characters as real people. So I think that, you know, that it's one of those things where things sort of happen in life because they're supposed to, and maybe if you're just pursuing something that you have your mind on, it will take you where you need to go.
Yeah, for me it was the same thing. I had an audition, like my mom said, you have this audition for some cartoon. And then we did the audition, and it was my first animation audition I think ever. And then I felt that it went pretty well, but it sort of went away. And then I was back home in Florida where I was growing up, and they called a few months later and they said, we want to hear your voice again. And in those days they said, can you put yourself on tape and mail us a tape? So I recorded a tape with my mom.
Cassette tape, right?
Yeah, I think cassette
recorded
tape.
the voices.
And it's in the Disney archives now, that tape, me and my mom. And
With your mom playing
she was the genie.
the
She was
genie and
everywhere.
Jasmine.
Yeah.
Oh, I had to hear Babs playing Jasmine.
It was really
That
cool.
would be amazing.
With her, my mom has a very thick Brooklyn accent, so the genie stuff, she sounded good, but she's like, oi, 10,000 years, it could be such a crick in the neck. She nailed it. But I think she thought she had a chance of getting the part. We didn't know it was around the corner. But it was crazy. It just kept going on for months and months. I don't know if there was even ever a day where they said, congratulations. It was just like, let's do another one. Let's keep going.
Right, which is why we always had this feeling of, is this real? Are we actually going to be in the movie when the movie comes out? And it's an experience that I thought I was the only one feeling like that. And then as we've done interviews over the years, I realized we were all feeling like that. Maybe not Robin Williams. He probably knew he was good. But the rest of us were like, are we still going to be in this?
Yeah, it's true. Well, because I guess with animation, and it's funny because I brought this up to Ron Clements, who's one of the directors of the movie, and he's like, you're nuts, we could have never replaced you in the whole movie. We animate to your voice, so it would have been really, really difficult to replace you, to loop the whole movie. They call it looping when you do the dialogue replacement, which you could do for a line or a scene, but it's really hard to do for a 2-hour movie, you know. So they
would have had to really hate us to replace us.
Yeah,
They didn't tell us that then. Nobody was like, oh, you're good, it would be really too hard to replace you. They were just like, can you do it again? And we were like, did I do it okay the first time? No, but we had so much support from the directors, Ron and John. They were just
great.
wonderful. We were very lucky to work with them.
Those guys were amazing. They directed The Little Mermaid, and then they directed Aladdin. They've done so many. They did, but their most
Princess and
recent,
the Frog,
yeah, Princess
Moana.
and Treasure Planet. Yeah, and then the most recent one was Moana, and then I think John just retired. I think.
Yes.
So Ron is still going, but on some secret project. I always say, "What are you up to?" They're like, "I can't tell you."
I know.
Which I think is cool.
Thank you so much.
Besides the first Aladdin movie, what's your favorite thing that you've done Aladdin and Jasmine in?
That's interesting. We've done Aladdin and Jasmine. I don't think there's a word in the language that I haven't said as Like, I don't think Aladdin's ever said iPhone or something, but pretty much there's like, you know, I feel like I've recorded every phrase that could be said. But we've done. I mean, literally, though, sometimes you'll go and you'll have to say like, keep your hands and arms inside the carpet, or you'll do a parade. We once did somebody was doing like a birthday party we had to record a whole script for. But and the video games are really fun. I like all the new technology. Like they did a virtual reality Disneyland thing where somebody's walking through Disneyland and it's like an augmented reality. It was from a few years ago, so I'm not giving away some top secret project. It was like for the Connect or something like that. And we had to record all these different responses that somebody might see if they bumped into Aladdin or Jasmine in the park. And it's crazy. It's fun to see the technology evolve.
That's the cool thing now. We'll do things like video games where there's so many different possible roads that the story can take. So we have to record a lot of different scenes and options, and if the user responds this, then we go this way, and if they respond that, we go another way. So it's really cool with the new stuff that's coming out. And we've just recorded, we can't say what, but we just recorded a really cool new project.
Yeah, like a neat technology thing.
Yes.
We do like the Disney on Ice is really fun.
Yeah, that was fun. That was really fun to do.
So it's really, and it's fun because sometimes you're like, oh, well, this is for a big theater, so you have to sort of project a little bit louder than it would be natural, I don't know, it's always a fun challenge.
My favorite thing to do as Jasmine since the original movie was definitely Ralph Breaks the Internet. That was my favorite, so that was really a fun job. Thank you.
Thanks.
What made you want to be in Aladdin?
That's a really good question. At first, I didn't even know about Aladdin. They just, the first audition was like, I'll never forget it because it was my first voiceover audition ever, I think. And they said, well, here's a picture of what we think the character's going to look like, but that could change. But he looks like that, and these are his lines, and it just seemed really fun. I just thought it would be really fun to do it. And then, of course, going to Disney Studios all the time, and sort of slowly the realization that we were part of what was going to be a really big deal made it really fun.
When I read the scene with Princess Jasmine, I was like, I really, really want to be this girl. That really was what made me want to be in Aladdin, just knowing how cool Jasmine was.
And then I have to say the thing that really made me lose my mind was when I found out that Robin Williams was going to be the genie. I was the biggest fan. I had a huge Dead Poet Society poster in my bedroom, and so that freaked me out.
Yeah, he was such a huge star already before we did Aladdin. I had grown up with him watching Mork and Mindy, which was so great. And there, I didn't know at first that Robin was going to definitely be the genie.
I thought it was going to be my mom.
I mean, it was written in Robin's humor. It was written for him, so it sounded like Robin Williams. But they didn't tell us everything. But we had a lot of clues, and then we started working with him. So we were like, oh, yay, this is fun.
Hi. So, my question is, while recording with Robin, what was some career or life advice that he gave you guys?
Did he give you any life advice?
He never gave me life advice, but I will say, we did learn a lot from him. Just seeing how he worked was so amazing. He was so calm, thoughtful. At first I was like, are you sure this is Robin Williams? Because he doesn't really talk a lot. And we went over the storyboards together, and he was just very thoughtful. And then, when the red light went on and we were recording, then he turned into Robin Williams. It was crazy. And it was amazing, and it was like watching a genius in action. And I don't know if there's even a life lesson that you can apply, because he was actually like a genius.
Right, you look at him and you're like, I will never be that. I'm just going to enjoy it. It was really incredible to see that up close. And I think there was one thing that I didn't realize was how carefully he listened to everything that was happening around, how carefully he observed everything, because you would just be having a conversation about the kitty litter on the ground for the fake Agrabah party that we were at in Griffith Park. And then Robin got up and did 10 minutes of stand-up at that party, and there was a whole bit about you're standing in kitty litter. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know he was paying attention to that conversation. He didn't miss a thing. So he was a great listener, and it's something, you know, I know I would like to be better at. It's something that we could all probably practice, and he did that just naturally. Or maybe he was just a very curious person, and that's where that came from.
Yeah, like when he wasn't doing his Robin Williams thing, it was like percolating in there. It was like it was like bubbling up and getting ready.
Thank you.
I've been a fan of Aladdin since I was like 5 when it came out. What's your favorite song? Not necessarily a song by your character, but a song from Aladdin.
I usually will respond A Whole New World, because that song really got me emotionally, and the first time I saw the animation with the song, I was just forever in love with that song. But I also really love A Friend Like Me, and since the Broadway show, I've fallen more in love with A Friend Like Me because it's such a great production number, both in the animated film and in the Broadway show. So I would say those are my two favorites.
I'm with Linda, those are great. You know, the funny thing is there was a song that was originally going to be in the movie called Proud of Your Boy that Aladdin sang to his mom. And I remember hearing the tape, like it was Alan Menken singing, it was just like a demo. And we put it on in the car, my mom was driving, and she starts crying hysterically. She's like, oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, Mom, get it together. I was like, but that's the power of the song. It was a beautiful song. And then they cut it from the movie because they cut Aladdin's mom from the movie. But you know what's cool is that then for the Broadway show, Aladdin sings it. It's back in the show. So if you want to hear it, it's on the Broadway soundtrack, I guess.
Everyone knows that the show is coming to downtown just next week.
When we were driving here today, I saw a big banner for it. That's really cool. I've seen it a couple times. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. Please see it if you guys get the opportunity. If you haven't already seen it in New York, it's so wonderful. You'll love it.
And you'll get to hear that song.
And you'll get to hear that song. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi guys, it's
Hi.
So I first want to say I love you guys, and I've actually seen the musical 3 times, and it's incredible. What's your favorite memory that stands out from Aladdin?
Do you remember the night? Was it in Florida when the movie was first coming out and they did that huge parade where we were riding on camels?
I do remember that. And I remember wearing a fez or something. I don't know why Jasmine was wearing a fez.
Yeah,
It must
we were
have
all
been
wearing
something
hats
else.
and stuff.
Yeah, we had hats.
And then it started raining.
Yes.
And we were on the camels in the rain, which is just not something I would ever imagine I would do. Yeah. That's just a good example of how this thing affected our lives. Like we found ourselves in crazy situations and having great experiences. And I have to say, from being a teenager, I got to go on a lot of rides at Disney World without waiting online, and that was awesome.
Another way it's changed our lives.
Yeah, that made me feel like
I got something for you guys. We have somebody else here, and she's just around the river bend. It's our river kid.
So last night we had dinner together. I posted a picture of us on Instagram having dinner, and people in the comments are all like, that's my whole childhood having dinner. This is crazy.
And it was a great dinner too. It was really good.
So somebody asked a question before, and I'm really curious if your answer is going to be the same as mine. What was your favorite project since the original Pocahontas? What was your favorite project to voice Pocahontas in?
What was my favorite project to voice Pocahontas in?
Yeah, like
Ralph Breaks the Internet! My answer too! Yeah.
they had, when we went and did D23, we had I'd never seen any of it before that day, right? So they gifted us shirts and, yes.
Sweatshirts.
And they were the ones that, we were wearing in the film. So.
Yes, we hadn't seen what the specific outfits were for the characters, but we got each of us a sweatshirt, so they brought us all backstage together, gave each of us a box and said, okay, open them all together. And we all had a sweatshirt with, mine said 3 wishes. What was yours?
Mine was the wolf crying to the blue corn moon.
Yeah, and we were like these one-of-a-kind things, and then we discovered later they matched the outfits that we're wearing in the film. So it was really neat. And I wore that sweatshirt all around Disneyland, and people were like, where did you get that? Which store did that come from? I'm like, it didn't.
I'm freaking out. I'm a Disney fan myself, and so I love hearing this stuff. It's really cool.
Scott wasn't there for that one, but he'll be there this year at D23.
It's true, we're going this year.
I don't know who's going to. Do any of you go to D23? I thought there were D23 members here. So it's going to be a fun one this year. I hope to see you all in August. It's really
fun.
A special event.
All right, so I'm a 3rd grade teacher. This year my classroom is decorated Aladdin themed. So I'm hoping you can tell my 3rd graders, where would you go if you had a magic carpet?
Oh, that is such a great question. I would love to hear the answers from all of your 3rd graders. That should be like a project for them to each say that.
Do little YouTube videos of all their answers. Yay!
We should all answer that. Do you know where you would go?
Oh, right now I'd love to just go to the top of those mountains. Those mountains out there are so beautiful. I'm from Alaska, and when I landed, it was the other night. The sun was setting on one side and the full moon was rising on the other side, and I was like, mountains, clean air, just like home.
I would probably go very far. I've always wanted to go to the Maldives or Fiji or Tahiti. To me, those are the most magical places, and I would love to go there on a magic carpet so I didn't have to change planes and go through lots of time zones. I'd like to get there and back.
It'd be so convenient to have a private magic carpet.
Wouldn't it just?
And I'm always up for a trip to Paris. That's probably where I'd go.
Can I ride on your magic carpet?
Absolutely. We can go to all those places together, all 3 of us. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sienna, and this question is for Scott. What was your favorite episode of A Full House?
A Full House? I'm not just saying this because I'm sitting next to Disney princesses, but the Disney World episodes were my favorite. That was really fun. We traveled to Orlando and spent weeks at Disney World, and it's a big cast. There's like a lot of scenes I wasn't in, so I got to just hang out at Disney World. It was amazing. So that was really, it was the episodes turned out really great, and they were fun to shoot. So thanks for asking. And it was fun dressing up like Aladdin.
What do you think of the new Aladdin that's coming out?
First person to ask that today. I was wondering if someone was going to ask that question.
I didn't know if that was cool or not. It's like, you can do your
Oh, yeah. So no, we haven't seen it yet. We've only seen what you guys have seen. We've seen the trailers. From the trailers, I'm so excited to see what they do with it. It looks incredible. So I'm looking forward to it. It's another telling of the story, and I think it's going to reach new audiences, which is really great.
Yeah, I haven't seen it at all. All I've seen are the trailers, but I took my son as my date to the Kids' Choice Awards a few weeks ago, and they did a huge thing for the new Aladdin movie there. They showed us a bunch of clips and trailer stuff, and Will Smith was there. It was really cool, and so I'm excited for it. And I'm excited also that whenever something like this happens, whenever like a well, now this is a big deal, the new Aladdin movie. It introduces the original movie to a whole new generation of people who didn't know it growing up, which is awesome. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
I really love seeing Beauty and the Beast, so, you know, just thinking about that, like, you know, that this is going to be awesome. Really
I
excited.
love the live action Beauty and the Beast, so I'm hoping that Aladdin will live up to that. I think it will. It's a great group of people, amazing, talented people, so.
Are you gonna see it? Are both of you?
Yeah.
Is everyone here gonna see it?
And by the way, my little brother, I call him my gentle Spock, so I really love your outfit there, Spock.
Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Alex. Anyways, so for a talent show that we're doing at my school, we're doing like a Disney princess, who will you marry kind of game show. So anyways, my friend is gonna be Jasmine, and I was so like, we each get introduced, and I was wondering how would Aladdin and how would Jasmine introduce Jasmine?
So, explain to me a little bit more. What is, it's a game show?
Yeah, so
Okay.
for our school talent show, we're doing Who Will You Marry?
Okay. So you have to say, and coming up next is, okay, I would say a princess that you know and love, and someone who has a pet tiger, and someone who likes to hang out with a genie. And if they can't guess, then I don't know if they've seen Aladdin.
And how would I introduce Aladdin or Jasmine? Jasmine. Interesting.
Am I supposed to introduce Aladdin?
No, I think it's for her friend who's going to be Jasmine. How would I introduce? How about I don't know. What would I say? I mean, I would say yes. I would say she's an individual. She's not afraid to speak her mind, and she knows what she wants out of life, and she has a pet tiger.
And she gets to ride a flying carpet.
And she's not a snob. She'll marry a guy who wasn't born into royalty.
Thank you. Have fun with
Yeah,
it.
have fun.
Hi, my name is Ryan, and this one's for Scott. In Fuller House, if you could marry any of the cast members, Tony, DJ, and CJ, which one would you marry?
You know,
Spoiler alert.
CJ's great and all, but me and DJ have a lot of history. We go way back. I feel like it's meant to be. I don't know, I'm not a writer on the show, but yeah, if I was a writer on the show, I'd be in the room torturing all the writers, being like, guys, when are we gonna write the wedding episode? Come on. But yeah, so it'd have to be DJ. After all these years. Come on.
So
Is
this
this
is
how much time we have
Yeah,
left?
this is
Oh
probably
my
our last,
gosh.
probably our last question.
Yeah, this one is publicly to Renee, we spoke earlier.
Yes.
I would like to thank Ms. Bedard for your comments on the anti-bullying campaign. I want to thank you publicly in front of all these people for what you said.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
So hi, I'm Aladdin.
You look beautiful. I love the cloak. I don't get to see that element of the costume very often. It's great
Sneaking
detail.
into the marketplace.
Yes.
That is the fastest way to go around the con without people stopping you.
You should try it.
Yes. But my question is, what was the hardest part of being a voice actress or a voice actor? And I asked you yesterday that too. What was the most challenging part?
What did I say? Oh, I thought you came to my table. I was like, I don't remember this question. What was the answer? For me, the most challenging part of doing Princess Jasmine, I think, was probably when I had anxiety over being fired. Like, I was worried that I wasn't gonna make it to the final film. So there were times when I was recording one time in particular that I really was insecure that day, and it was coming through in my performance, and Ron and John were like, Linda, maybe just a little more energy, and I broke down crying. And they were like, what is happening? They had no idea what was going on with me, that I was feeling nervous about it, and I told them that that's what I was worried about, and they were like, we believe in you, and we will always fight for you, so just do what you do. And it took away all of my fear, and without that fear, I was able to soar. So fear can be really debilitating, and for me, that was the biggest challenge in doing that character in that film.
Well, but it's our jobs to be sensitive. It's that, our jobs is to have empathy and compassion and to feel all those emotions. So, I think that's really great when directors, understand that. So that.
Yes, that's really true. That's a really good point, because it is sometimes you will kind of get mixed up with how your character is feeling too, because you're like, I'm feeling very emotional, and the character is emotional in that scene, or different things that will really, because you have to tap into it to do it, it will get in there. It'll make you feel how your character is feeling.
And I have to say also, it takes a lot of energy to act. It's really strange, because you would think you're just sitting in a chair reading, you're not on camera or anything, but it really doesn't work that way. You really have to give it everything you have. It's great. Last week I happened to be at Disney at the studio, and we went into the recording studio where we recorded Aladdin, and they were showing me all the cool new technology, and they put in this bar. And they said I forgot what they called it, like a struggle bar or something. Something for you to grab onto when you're like doing a fight scene or whatever, and you have to you're hanging, from a cliff or whatever. And I was like, well, a struggle bar, that would have been helpful. But it just makes you realize how physical the job is, that you're, that it's not just reading into a microphone, but it's really a physical thing.
You're doing a lot of things too where you're, you have to even make a sound like you've been hit, or
Jumping from 2 stories, and
getting punched in the stomach,
running through the woods.
We've made every sound probably possible for a human being to make at some point in the movie or the cartoon series or the sequels or the video games. We've really gone all over the world with it.
We're unfortunately out of time. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much.
Can you guys give me a huge round of applause? Scott Weinger, Larkin, everybody. Okay, you guys are on it. The zip queue, you guys will have to clear.